Because that was my next question, like, what's the best?
You want a presentation for the bridge down by your house? Is that what?
Because I found that, because I would decide where you can write about it.
No.
Yeah, see these hash maps. Okay.
If everyone could sign in on the sheet, that would be great. Oh, it's like.
You want me to sign in for you?
Yeah, sure.
If you go home. You'll be great. You go
What's that? Oh, yeah. Hey, been there a while.
Just like,
That's good.
right, because then, this is right, so this is the one I saw.
Right?
And then you can click on the attachment. The other, the one that she sent had the link.
Oh, yeah, especially when it's raining.
The one that comes in the prior does have the link to the attachment.
Because I saw that.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Because I'm a creature of habit, so if I can establish like a habit, like a way to do it.
They don't have a slide of the person
No, the mother, that's the high road
years
bridge.
ago, a little more,
That was underwater.
standing
So
on the
that's,
bridge.
that was my other
down at the
question, because I saw
mill.
that you guys.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Because I need to add.
Right?
I'm Stephen Scott. David Scott. He's the engineer up in his
You
line.
didn't send me a letter with thank you.
It's showing here. He's always saying,
We aim for the letter
Yeah, on the other side, you went quite right on our side.
No, it didn't snow hard, but it just. Agricultural.
grew up on the farm.
Look at like
He's the house
I'm glad
business.
you got it.
About we
We're trying to sneak it under your radar.
About 30 years ago.
well, here's the thing, right? It's like, okay, so
Somewhere
maybe a
there's
large percentage of people.
regards to drainage.
I understand you can't spend any money on it.
Well, first it might like.
You know,
Hey,
take a step back.
Bring
somebody in to like.
I thought they
sell
went,
the idea.
this engineer,
She had
the last rebuild. I insisted on how much they had to drain all along the churches. At that time,
Especially when the grass has it.
Well, I don't know, I mean, I'm, like I said, I'm really. I understand the money, what about like just being a
Oh, it's long. Somebody gets one in it.
He is.
Oh, I thought you were sneaking in without him, Tina.
My watch is going fast.
The internet says, or the Verizon suspects it.
I looked at that, I know.
That's how the world's gonna end.
Yeah, it's probably.
Oh my God.
I kind of have a feeling just in seeing everything, that there was a different bridge there from the one when we came.
How are you?
Working on taxes today versus house. I just want to get it done. It was kind of on the Julie side, so I was like, I try to just keep poking away. That's why I set my meeting for Monday, and I just want it off. Like, I already get like the extension, so you'll probably not even do it. You'll probably do it, that's why I'm like.
And then it turns into a giant.
And I also need to get the stuff out of the well, I'll just put it down, yeah.
You don't care
Right
about
now, it's
something I feel like you're going.
in the house.
Somebody else, I was trying to tell you.
can start it as late
If
as.
that was, I realized that.
I would have waited until June
There's still
15th
quite a
or
few
so.
Class 6 roads that.
I don't know what that
Yes,
is.
as main thoroughfares,
6 o'clock.
especially above the roads.
Just 5 seconds. All right, so it's 6 o'clock in the town of Lee, so we're gonna call the meeting to order. We're gonna open with public comment. If there is a public comment, please come to the microphone, state your name and address, you have 3 minutes, and address your comments to the board. Any takers? Okay, seeing none, move on to new business. Okay, so we need to appoint a select board chair and vice chair.
Are you interested?
If it is, it is.
It is.
Happily do it.
I nominate Rebecca Hawthorne for the chair position.
Second motion.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, and then we need a vice chair.
What's the vice chair? Sit in for the chair?
They sit and look pretty.
The chair.
That's pretty much it. They sit here and if for some reason I was late, take over. So I guess we nominate Mr. Bugby.
Sure. Second motion.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
All right, awesome. All right, so it looks like we now need to open the public hearing on Department of Transportation's bridge work plan, so.
And this is David Scott from New Hampshire DOT, who is here to conduct the public hearing.
Thank you. My name is David Scott. The presentation's right behind you.
Of course it is.
Here to discuss preservation efforts for the bridge carrying Lee Hook Road over the Lamprey River, as well as the bridge carrying New Hampshire 152 over North River. Just in DOT parlance, though, when we hear public hearing, for us, that means we're acquiring property rights. For us, this is a public officials, public informational meeting. We are not looking to acquire any property rights as part of this project. Full disclaimer. And again, my name is David Scott. Rona Thompson will be acting as the environmental manager, but she could not be here this evening. So I will be covering the slides that she would otherwise be presenting. And this is the location map for this project. I'm guessing most of you know where the bridges are. I had to put this slide in for the benefit of those in Concord. But New Hampshire 152 over North River is over by the Nottingham town line, and Lee Hook Road is just to the south, just to the east of New Hampshire 155. And then the environmental statement, which Rona would have covered. We have to abide by the National Environmental Policy Act and other state and federal regulations. And as part of that, the New Hampshire DOT has to investigate the potential impacts that our projects will have on the surrounding natural, cultural, and social environment. And part of that is identifying key resources that allows us to minimize impacts, minimize and even avoid impacts to those resources. And part of that environmental review involves identifying historic resources. In accordance with Section 106 of the National Historic Preservation Act, the Department and Federal Highway Administration are reviewing the project area in consultation with the New Hampshire Division of Historical Resources to determine if there are historic resources within the vicinity that would be impacted by the construction of the project. And historic resources can be 50 years or older, assuming that they are still intact and have enough integrity to be eligible. According to Section 106, it offers those that possess a direct interest in historical resources, including town officials and historical societies, an opportunity to become more involved in an advisory role during the project development process as consulting parties. And this brochure, which I'll leave 3 copies of it here, outline the process to become a consulting party. That involves reaching out to Jamie Sikora with Federal Highway Administration. And if you have concerns or questions about the natural, cultural, or socioeconomic resources within or adjacent to the project area, please bring them to my attention, or Rona, if you look at this later on. And I've got a few cards here, and Denise knows how to get in touch with me. And there's Rona's contact information. Okay, on to the bridges. Let's start with New Hampshire Route 152, and it carries, the bridge carries 152 over the North River. It was built in 1928 and was rebuilt in 1985 with a new deck. It is a 37-foot long single span, steel girders, I-beams supporting a concrete deck, and it is 32-foot wide from curb to curb. Carries just under 3,000 vehicles per day and 4% truck. And down at the bottom, you'll see the deck, superstructure, and the substructure are all rated good per the biannual, every twice a year, once every 2 years, sorry about that, inspection. So the bridge is in good shape. We're looking to keep it in good shape. The other bridge that we are looking to address is the bridge carrying Lehook Road over the Lamprey River. It was built in 1923 and received a new deck in 1975. It is a 75-foot long, two-span steel girder supporting a concrete deck. But this one is less than 24 feet wide curb to curb. It does carry less than 2,000 vehicles per day, 7% truck. And on this bridge, the deck, the superstructure, and the substructure are all rated as 6 or satisfactory. And I will tell you, when we look to do preservation work, if I see a bridge that has a deck that is 50 years old and hasn't had preservation activities, I think long and hard as to maybe we ought to just wait for time to take its toll and we'll just replace the deck rather than throwing good money after this thing. But bridge design people and people from the Bureau of Bridge Maintenance together looked underneath this bridge and said that this is worth preserving and still got some good life left in it. The purpose and need of this project is to delay the bridge's condition into a lower condition state, and again, neither of these bridges have received preservation. So for both bridges, we will take off the pavement and the membrane. The membrane is similar to like an ice and water shield that you would have on the edge of your roof, above the plywood, under the shingles. The bridge membrane is on top of the concrete, underneath the asphalt. Once the membrane is off, we will do full and partial depth concrete deck repair. And for the Lehook Road Bridge, we will also be rebuilding the copings. I'll have a picture of that in a bit, but the copings are the areas on the edge of the bridge that support the guardrail. We'll also replace the expansion joint that's at the pier, and we'll be replacing some of the bearings. So, New Hampshire 152. North is to the top of the page. The approach from the west is a nice straight tangent. Moving off to the east, we have that curved roadway alignment. And here it is looking to the west. And then we turn around and give you the view from what it looks like as you head off to the east, again with that curved road. And to accomplish the work on 152, we propose to place barrier to shield the construction workers so that they can do work in phase 1 on the north side of the bridge. And while they are working on the north side of the bridge, we will maintain traffic using one lane of alternating two-way traffic on the south lane. My cursor is not bringing up a, you can't see my cursor on the display, but you will note that there are traffic signals for the eastbound traffic, that horn-like symbol off to the right. There's a similar symbol for the traffic signal for traffic coming from the west. And we also have traffic signals proposed for the driveway to the northeast corner, so that that residency, that driveway can have access without wondering which way traffic is coming towards them. And we have a signal proposed for County Line Road as well. When the work on the north side of the bridge is complete, we will flip the work, move the barrier, and do the same thing from the opposite direction. Work on the south, and traffic will be able to use the northern newly paved, newly reconstructed portion of the bridge, again, in one lane of alternating two-way traffic. This picture is a cross-section of the deck, and you can orient yourself by visualizing this is what you'd see if you were driving down the road with the bridge guardrails. And in phase one, which is shown here, we're looking to the east, so the work is being done on the north, and motorists will have access to 13 feet on the south side of the bridge, again in that alternating configuration. And that work will take approximately 8 weeks. As we flip to phase two, that work gets then done on the south side of the bridge, and motorists have 13 feet to the north side of the bridge to alternate. We're about to move on to the Leahook Road part of the presentation, but while we're here, I do want you to take notice of that big piece of concrete in the middle of the road separating motorists from the workers. And that concrete barrier is 2 feet wide. So just keep that in mind as we work onto the presentation for Leahook Road. And here you can see Leahook Road north is headed up to the upper left. And we will take a look at the approaches. Here we're looking to the southeast. And here we are looking up to the northwest. And here you can see the coping. And that deterioration, that level of deterioration is beyond patching. That requires us to remove the coping and cast new concrete to provide new support for new guardrail. And here is the Leahook Road Bridge from the downstream side. You will note that there is communications cable across the downstream coping, and that communications cable will be moved prior to the start of construction, which I should note is anticipated for calendar year 2025. So because of the less than 24-foot wide width, we are proposing, we need to close the bridge. Work is anticipated to take about 16 weeks, so we're proposing a 16-week closure. When the bridge was redecked, and as someone mentioned here tonight, that they remember when the bridge was redecked, it was done half at a time. But that picture that I saw of that allowed maybe 9 feet of traveled way. So it wouldn't be satisfactory for emergency services. And when that bridge was redecked, they did not place concrete barrier down the middle to protect the workers. With that barrier and the amount of work and the lack of width available, there's just not space to phase the construction like we are proposing to do for New Hampshire 152. I would also point out that with people driving so much at the mercy of Google Maps, we would have wide loads coming down and coming up the works regularly. That was a problem that they didn't have in 1975.
Just out of curiosity, for my own education, is there a bridge width, like detour versus no detour? Is there an official rule, or is it just kind of a subjective sort of thing?
It depends on the situation. I have maintained a 10-foot width for the Seabrook-Hampton lift bridge, and that was as narrow as I have ever gone. And I will, regarding this, and the audience here has already confirmed it for me, I've noticed agricultural interests on both sides of the bridge, and this is going to be a hassle. But again, I don't have the width to get everybody through, or anybody through. I will also point out that I recognize that this is going to be a hassle for emergency services. There's the Lee Fire Department with the red thumbtack, and the opposite side of the bridge with, say, Wellington Camping Park, and that is a 12-minute response time which would make this the longest response time of anywhere in town for the Lee Fire Department. But I don't have another alternative. There will be, as I mentioned earlier, no right-of-way impacts for work done at either bridge. Regarding the utilities, I've already mentioned the communications cable at Lee Hook Road, and there are no utility impacts at New Hampshire 152. This is more of an internal thing, but the NEPA process should be complete in April of 2024, and we don't anticipate impacts to wetlands, historic properties, or endangered species. And we are anticipating to advertise in early May with bids coming in late May. And we aren't anticipating doing the work until calendar year 2025. With that Lee Hook Road closure of 16 weeks, which does include bikes and peds, that would mean that we could start anywhere between March 31st and June 23rd to provide a reasonable 16-week window for the contractor. And we can be flexible and are certainly open to what, if there is a date that works better than others for that work. And with that, that's the conclusion of the presentation, and I am certainly open to questions.
What's the status of the abutments on both bridges and Pylon, wherever it is in the middle of the bridge?
Those are both all in good shape. I did mention we want to replace the expansion joint on the deck. That's because it's leaking down to the pier at Lee Hook Road. I didn't do that.
I'm trying to.
Okay.
If you were done.
But those are in good shape and will not require work.
Might want to leave it on in case people have questions and you can ask, show them.
It's going to stay on anyway, despite my best efforts.
I have a question about the date. So,
If you want to come up and state your name
Sure.
and address.
Doug Wellington Campground, 95 Lee Hook Road.
Thank you.
So we're at the top of the hill.
Do you want to put a mic so we can?
Talk loud enough. Doug Wellington from Wellington Campground, 95 Lee Hook Road. So if you go with your dates of March 31st to July, that greatly impacts our business. That's the very beginning and probably the heart of our business for a campground. And a lot of campers come across that road to get to us. And then separate from that is, you're right in the middle of farming. You know, there's a lot of farm tractors and whatnot that go across that work both sides of that road. So March 31st to July is a huge impact if we could push it out a little further. And I work in construction, I build substations, we put in huge foundations all winter long. So it can be done, you know, it's just a matter of planning.
I can't get asphalt.
Well, I hear you there, but we can back that date out to a better time. We get asphalt for our substations all the way up to December. So I'm sure we could figure a better date than March 31st.
And again, with a completion date of October 10th, we could start as late as June 23rd. And
Does it have to end October 10th?
we like to try to give ourselves some cushion to beat the weather before the paint striping doesn't stick when we.
Yeah, well, I think we would be all reasonable about some paint striping if we could get that back a little bit further. I mean, I'm sure they stripe roads later than October 10th.
So, yes, but not much later.
Yeah.
And we don't want to be pushing up so that we
Yeah,
get
I hear
ourselves
you.
in a jam.
I hear you, but that's a huge burden on.
So later, for you, in your opinion, is better.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah,
And
I think-
those are the kind of things that I'm hoping to hear.
Yeah, and I'm sure that, people are harvesting hay and all kinds of stuff at that time of year for the fall. And that's directly gonna impact the farms on that road.
And I would just point out that if we start it later, July 1st pushes into October, and we're not gonna push it so far that, we wouldn't push it more than 3 weeks. We wouldn't get
That would be a
ourselves.
help, for sure.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you.
Sure.
Eric Sawtell, 93 North River Road and 100 Lee Hook Road. I agree with Doug that the issue definitely is the timing, But I'm wondering, David, could you run us through the process of the demolition part and then resurfacing, putting down the barrier? Is there any possibility that at each step you could open that road up for a while? Like when you get down to the concrete before you put the barrier on there?
I hadn't
Or the second part is,
anticipated that question.
why do you need to use asphalt on it? Why can't you just keep it as concrete
Uh,
on the surface?
We're trying to protect the rebar that is in the deck, and the membrane asphalt system is our method of doing that in 95% of our projects. And if we are doing something different, we would have a different reinforcement in the deck. But this is black steel, and it's not,
Can you use Corten steel?
we are protecting the reinforcing steel that's already in the deck.
All right. So there's no chance of doing it piecemeal and then opening it for a while?
How much window would you need?
From about the 15th of May till the 15th of December?
Sunny days.
Seriously?
No, I understand.
I go back and forth probably 18 times a day, and it's a long ways around.
Yeah. Are you thinking, though, with the request to give a window of openness, is that for equipment?
Yeah.
And are you thinking like move the hay equipment over and do the hay and then bring the hay equipment back? So
Well,
you're looking for-
I have 32, I have farms in 6 towns, so I can schedule where I'm going, but once I'm there, I'm there. And then it's just grouping stuff in different places, but right now we're going back and forth between our regular house on Lee Hook Road, on North River Road, and we're living on Lee Hook Road, but we go back and forth there every day, a lot. So if we have to go all the way around 152 and back up Lee Hook Road, or even the other way down Wednesday Hill Road, hauling machinery is, my widest machinery is 12 feet, so, and I do go across the bridge on 152 also, right there by the County Farm Road. So
152 that is affected by the bridge that I'm going to?
Yeah, but I can get across there because I'm 12 feet wide.
Yeah, we're 13, we're giving you 13 there.
I can stay on the pavement, and
Right.
what's the curb height?
7 inches.
Yeah, so I can clear that both sides.
You shouldn't have any issue with that. I'm trying to think, I can't promise you a window of a week or two, because the contractor's fighting weather just like you are.
Do you work on the weekends? Can you open part of it on the weekends?
So when we are
Move the
doing,
Jersey barriers over so at least you can get through there on the weekends?
well, there won't be a Jersey barrier. There will be a Jersey barrier to block off the roadway. There won't be a Jersey barrier down.
Right, but that's what I'm saying. Can you open that,
When
or is this gonna be 24/7?
it was planned to be 24/7. Let me talk to the Bureau of Construction, who oversees the actual putting together. I don't know what they could live with.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Dave, I'm sorry. Chris Wellington, Capital Park. I do have a question. If you were to close the whole bridge down for 2 months and then get at least one lane back that would be wide enough to be able to get 10 feet or 11 feet, is that a possibility? And then do the other half?
The issue is gonna be the copings. We are anticipating the contractor attacking both of them simultaneously and getting in and out as quick as he can so that we minimize the duration. If we have to do half at a time in some fashion, then that limits emergency services and everybody for a longer period of time because we just don't have the room for the width.
But if you closed the bridge completely, did one coping, and then got us 10 feet or 11 feet, whatever you feel you need to be able to provide traffic, and then you could take 2 months, 3 months to do the rest.
I don't think that will work, but I will look at it again.
That's worth, thank you.
David, one question I had, from all accounts here, it sounds like the bridge is gonna be closed for a long time, whatever time it's closed, and I'm wondering what's gonna be available for signage, particularly for, that's not gonna help Mr. Sawtell in his farming endeavors,
Right.
but for the campground, obviously good significant signage about the detour routes, is that gonna be available electronic, that type of thing?
We will, if having an electronic would, when you say electronic, variable message signs or?
That's what I was thinking,
Yes, yes, those will be up, and the variable message signs are used for catch your attention type of messages. So we put those out a couple weeks ahead of the implementation of the orange signed detour route. And the orange signed detour route would detour people along state roads, although there aren't local roads that significantly help the situation.
Jennifer Allen, 23 Lee Hook Road. I'm just curious, also where on Lee Hook, coming down from the center of town, you would close it and what it would be. We have a seasonal business September and October, and I hate for customers not to be able to get down Lee Hook.
No, we would
So-
close off down at the bridge.
You would just close at the bridge, so
Yeah.
anybody bigger is gonna
Yeah.
turn around at the
It
farm.
will be signs that say, no through traffic, but, or we could work signage with you. But, I mean, you certainly have access, and we aren't looking to prevent people from getting to you.
Yeah, and that's what we would need to make sure we keep it open
Okay.
to get people.
Is anybody here from the school district?
Yes.
Do you have any concerns? Because I had a conversation with the superintendent, he said he was gonna send some.
Yeah, no, as far as 152, there's no concerns, we'd be able to get through, and that's one bus twice a day. Lee Hook is a little bit more, we have Love Lane that we can
Okay.
get down as far as, oh, sorry.
No, that's okay.
He trapped you.
Lisa Hubby from the school district. We have a turnaround point at Love Lane that we can, if anybody resides between, they can be brought to that point. It's the other end that concerns me more. The closest turnaround point is Little Hook. I don't think we have anybody attending the district between Little Hook and, I would have to look to double check, but right now, currently, I don't think it's really gonna be a big problem.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So nobody down in Tall Pines or anything down there for?
Yeah, but we'll get there from the other.
The other side, okay.
Yeah, I'll just detour down Wiswall or something like that.
Okay. And in terms of the time frame, he has a little bit of leeway, but it sounds like the farmers have.
Anytime during the school years. Well, even then, after the school year, we have summer school as well, so we just
Okay.
work around it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Seeing as there's no one else approaching the microphone, I would like to discuss a municipal work zone agreement. Did you receive it in your packets? If not, I got a paper copy.
Yeah.
It's easier on paper sometimes.
Oh, yes.
There are communities in the state that have laws on the books that say that when work is being done on the roadways within their community, they need to have local police presence present. And New Hampshire DOT understands state statutes that say that when we are doing construction work, state statute gives us the authority to decide how traffic will be maintained. Sometimes we will use flaggers, sometimes we will hire local law enforcement. And this agreement says that both the town and the state have the same understanding. I'm not asking you to sign it tonight, I'm asking you to consider it, discuss it with the police chief, and then if you have questions, we can discuss. I suspect it was presented to you for the other projects in town, the Lee bridge replacement near the Lee Speedway, although maybe I neglected to when I was here for that one. But the person who has adopted that project will certainly be reaching out for one of these for that project as well. Do you have any questions?
So what's your thoughts in terms of what you'll need for each location?
For traffic control?
Yes, yes.
So we will likely, and I'll caveat that would likely, require local police assistance to lay out sign packages.
Okay.
And then, once the sign packages are in place, the 152 site may need flaggers to assist construction vehicles to get in behind the barrier. At the Lee Hook Road site being a closure, we wouldn't expect need for assistance at all.
Okay. Chief, do you have any concerns or all set? Thanks.
Okay, if there are no other questions, I'd like to thank you for.
I have one more. Just a Doug Wellington, 95 Lee Hook Road, quick question. So I just wanted to make sure that the bridges are being done out of sequence, so that both bridges will not be closed at the same time.
I would expect that both bridges would be done simultaneously. They're so far apart that we wouldn't anticipate traffic impacts from one to queue up so much as to cause an issue at the other.
So to get to the campground, you have, from 125, you gotta go across the 152 bridge. So that affects traffic from a lot of our customers come up 125.
They come up, your campground is where?
95 Lee Hook Road, right across the bridge.
Okay, and people come up
From Massachusetts, they'll come up
125
most of the time.
but the other bridge is off on the other side of.
Is it? All right, my mistake then.
It's in the Northwood section.
So if we're going toward Nottingham.
Oh, towards
Sorry, Nottingham.
Yep.
Oh, piece of
The other
paper.
end.
He'll pull up the.
It's by Beckman's.
So.
Oh, okay. All right, just want to make sure they didn't get impacted.
Completely shut up.
Yeah, thank
Yeah.
you.
Good, thank you.
David, I had a question. It may not be of any interest. I'm Phil Sandlin, on the butter right at the bridge. You didn't talk about construction time when they were working. Would the contract be limited to a 7 to 4 schedule, or would there be a possibility of accelerating along the period, during that period of time, there's a lot more daylight?
We give the contractor 7 to 7 at a place like, but the issue is contractors are having a hard time finding people. It's tough work, and to get the extended shifts are not often something that the
But the
contractor.
contractor has that option if he
Absolutely.
wants to
Absolutely.
work
Yep.
12 or 14 hours a day.
Per the contract, 7 to 7 is
Yeah.
what we restrict them to.
Okay, good.
David, are they also restricted to Monday through Friday?
No, they can do
They
Saturdays.
can do Saturdays? So
And,
just-
and Sundays with permission of the state. But we've got issues of our own to staff
Okay.
that much.
Well, just so people that know, that live around the bridges, that there could be noise
Yes,
7 days a week,
that is true.
from 7 to 7 possibly.
That is true.
I have one other question, David. Right at the bridge, on our side of the bridge, on the west side, there's access for hunters and bird watchers and whatnot, hikers, to walk along the river's edge. There's a roadway in there.
Is this on the downstream side? Or the
On the downstream
Okay.
side, yes. And I just wondered if we could make sure that that was not blocked off with the construction project. The access to that roadway is right there at the bridge.
Okay, I will look into that.
Yeah.
I wasn't aware of that, and you would like that maintained even through the duration of.
Just so it's open, so that if possible, the construction wouldn't block the farm road going in there. It doesn't affect us with our farming very much, but there's a lot of hunters, turkey hunters at that time and
Okay,
whatnot.
okay, thank you.
Follow-up, you've got some things you're gonna look into for us. Will you come back and talk to us about scheduling and timeframes and stuff like that?
Would you prefer a face-to-face, or would you prefer that I coordinate through the town administrator?
There appears to be a lot of interest in terms of people that live around the bridge, so it might be nice if you came back and have a conversation with us in terms of what your answers are, but also in terms of the scheduling, in terms of the timing of it, to see if we can accommodate some of their particular requests. That would be beneficial.
Okay.
Would the audience agree, or?
Yeah.
Okay.
How about an email list, something? An email list?
That would be helpful. Would you be able to?
Sure, and you can coordinate that through myself, the town administrator's office, and I can forward the emails to David or put together the list.
That'd be great. Okay.
And my email address is on the town website. Or you can call myself or Denise and ask for it, we'll do it too.
And with our lead time, because we've advertised this as well, we'll have to get on the schedule April.
Okay.
And so an email list, should I email you and you distribute to the masses?
I can
or-
certainly do that, yep.
Okay, okay. All right then. Any other questions?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Keep a piece of equipment parked on that side.
Did everybody sign up except for Lisa or John?
What's that? Oh, I can't go on.
I assume there's not anything down on the bottom. When I put that here, I think it was that center.
Right, he didn't have much to say, but nothing really enough.
Thank you.
Nice to see you. I've had so many conversations recently about
They can work 2 full shifts a day, and they can get it done a lot faster, I know that. Okay.
Google doesn't suggest that it's any faster. So.
We have lots more to do if you want to stay.
No refreshments.
Sorry.
Scotty didn't finish
So
off
stay on
that.
Alright, so this closes the public hearing for the bridge work. And now to appointments, Mr. Bullock. Yep, sir.
Thank you. Mr. Ray.
So we went out to bid to put a new roof on this building. We had 6 people submit bids, which is probably the most I've ever gotten on anything I've done since I've been here. We had a low of $93,236 and a high of $148,550. I didn't call any references on the top 3 because they were so high that I kind of chopped them right off the list. Called the bottom 3's references, and every single reference I called, which isn't surprising, gave me a good reference. The only one that actually said anything bad about them was the middle one, and it was just that they were messy, but they cleaned up their stuff at the end of the day. And talking with everything that I've gone through, they're actually the ones that I feel comfortable going with. The prices are so close that I think any of the 3 would be okay, but I feel like just going right in the middle will probably be the best bet. Plus with what you saw on the outside of the building over there, it's $65 for a sheet of plywood to take it off and put it back on. That might be the best bet, because my guess is we're gonna be replacing some. Innovative Roofing has done a lot of state work. They did Odeon Point, they've done stuff up at Bear Brook, they've done some New Hampshire liquor store properties too.
What did we budget for this?
So there was 120 in the financial planning tool and CIP. I would ask for more than what their quote was, just in case we have to do.
But how much, because this is ARPA funds, isn't it?
No, this is not, this is building funds.
I'm just building.
This was the capital reserve fund.
I'm fine with that.
So Innovative Roofing.
That's who I feel like we should go with.
And what was the amount, Steve?
Their amount was $96,820. I was gonna ask for more than that though, just in case we run into something.
Okay.
I don't wanna scramble and then come back and ask for more. I'd rather just
Did you
have an amount that I won't spend over it type thing. I won't even come close, but if we have no plywood, it'll be the 96,820 if we have a couple of sheets.
So 10% extra, or
Yeah, probably.
so like
Didn't you go with
105?
10, that's what I was thinking. 105.
The biggest issue that we're gonna have, and you're not 100% sure, is when they spray foam the roof. If they spray foam the ridge vents, but they didn't spray foam the soffits, we have to cut the ridge vents out and redo them, because you can't have air come in and not be able to get out. If they spray foamed everything, we're fine,
Okay.
but there's that little bit of unknown with it. But I included cutting out the ridge vents in it anyway, so that's included in the 96, but it's just one of those things that we're not 100% sure on.
Okay.
And it'll go down also if we don't have to actually put a ridge vent in it, they'll just shingle over the top of it and there won't be the whole ridge vent system in it.
And these are, what's the length of the shingles that they're gonna put up?
35.
Okay.
They put up the more expensive shingles.
The architectural, is it architectural shingles?
Yeah, and they're 35 years, not the cheaper ones, and they're rated for 110 miles an hour.
Are you gonna be here when it needs to be re-roofed, Steve, or
I hope not,
you hope not?
hope not. I got other things since stuff came up over the weekend. The well pump decided to not work in this building anymore on 5 o'clock on Friday afternoon. And with people living here now 24 hours a day for the fire department, they needed water. Furthermore, they had 2 fires that day, so they had to be able to wash the gear and the hoses, so we had to pay to have the well pump put in on Saturday morning, plus the emergency call from Friday. So that was $3,785. I was hoping to take that out of the contingency fund.
Yeah, because we can't take it out of the cap reserve, because that doesn't cover maintenance, right, John?
Well, that's true, but you're replacing an entire system, or?
Well, he replaced the pump
It was the pump inside the well.
inside the well. So it's not whole system, it's just,
Put the line in the pipe back.
I have to say maybe, because it's, three people really need to say.
Okay.
yeah, so what is left in the contingency for this fiscal year?
I believe we have enough money in the contingency fund to cover that. You're probably gonna have enough money in the highway budget to cover it too, wouldn't you?
Well, I mean,
In the
yeah,
winter?
considering we haven't put any salt out this winter, so to speak.
But, yeah, I know there's enough money in the contingency fund to cover that.
Okay, I'm fine with that. Somebody's gonna pay for it from the town, so it doesn't make any difference, so.
I need a motion.
Well,
Do we-
can we clear up this one
Yeah.
first?
Oh, yeah. Does anybody have any comments about the innovative roofing? All right, then I motion to approve Steve Welch's recommendation to award the public safety complex roof bid to Innovative Roofing for an amount not to exceed $105,000 and to grant him authority to enter into a contract with said company. Funds to cover the building's capital reserve fund.
Second.
Any commentary, discussion? No? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
So the funds, you just said are coming from the capital
Building's capital
reserve.
reserve.
Okay, I thought you wanted the contingency, I'm sorry.
That's the other thing.
Okay.
Contingencies for the
Oh, yes.
All right, so do we want to try to pay the well pump out of the building's capital reserve fund? No, I don't worry about that. Okay, so we make a motion to pay for the new well pump for the public safety complex, a amount of $3,785,000 to come out of the contingency.
Three.
No,
Whoa, 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 whoa.
$3,785.
That's what I said, 3,000.
I thought she said 300,000.
387,000.
3,785. No, I can read. 3,785
There you go.
out of the contingency fund.
Second.
Discussion?
No.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Just so I have it, as a vote, obviously you saw outside earlier. Can I get a vote to get rid of the architectural white things off the side of the building and vinyl side it? Please?
You have money already, right?
Yeah, we have ARPA funds, and
Yep.
if I end up having more issues, I'll come back.
Right. I'm fine with it,
Yeah, sounds good to me. Let's get rid of the beautiful architectural
on both sides.
on both sides.
Both sides, yes,
Thank you.
thanks.
Can you do anything about the soft, no, I know it's a soft, it's an air vent that's in the front.
Yeah, those are
It's
made
like
out of foam,
Foam or something, yeah.
and they're starting to, the sun's starting to grate them and fall apart. I'm
Yeah.
looking into it.
Okay, all right. It just looks,
We tried to paint one of them, and it doesn't paint, so they're either gonna come off and get vinyled over,
yeah,
or we're trying to come up with something.
okay,
But we tried to paint them, and
Yeah.
it didn't work, it just fell apart.
fair enough.
Do you want me to stay to talk about 2 weeks ago in Madbury, or what do you?
It's up to you, we've already talked about it, but if
Okay.
you wanna talk about it again, we can go
No,
ahead.
I didn't know
don't
it
have
was
anything
here.
to report from the initial discussion.
All right,
Did you have any thoughts you wanted to share?
no,
Okay,
No.
well then no. Thank you.
no. I think
Well-
I shared them,
Okay.
so.
Well, you might wanna talk about the low-hanging fruit in terms of possibly doing their hauling and stuff like that as a possibility.
Probably do their trash hauling with our truck and charging them lower than what they're making. We only spend $50 a month in diesel fuel on that truck to haul all our own trash. So if you charge them, $150 a haul instead of what they're paying
Mhm.
$300, you charge them $2, it'll pay
Yeah.
for the diesel fuel on the truck.
Because the other thing it does, at least what I was talking about, is they get comfortable with us and we get comfortable with them.
Yeah, it's easy. And in reality, they probably only haul twice a month, and this time of year, the dumps are not even open over there, so you'd only be hauling for them 5 months a year, maybe.
Okay. And also what, C&D too, they have C&D.
That's all they have is C&D. They don't have any regular household trash, it's all C&D, or maybe some metal.
Okay. Thanks.
Thanks.
All right, on to regular business.
Sure, the first order of regular business I have is the Donate Life Flag Program that Leah's participated in for several years now. April is National Donate Life Month, and this is an awareness raising effort to educate people about organ and tissue donation, and typically we fly the Donate Life flags on the public flagpoles for the month of April. Done this in the past, but it is a specific request that needs your approval.
Any comments?
No, and they removed the MIA-PAW ones in the notes, so.
Yep.
All right, then I move to approve the hanging Donate for Life flags provided by New England Donor Services via Aaron Gattino for the full month of April on already established flagpoles within the town.
There are some
only.
pictures for you to view. So interested.
Discussion?
Nope.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, the next item I had was Stratford Regional Planning Commission and Community Action Program for Stratford County appointment discussion. Former select person Katrin Casper reached out to me and said that she was interested in staying on the committees that she's on at Stratford Regional Planning and also staying on the Community Action Program for Stratford County Committee that she is presently serving on. I told her that I thought it best that that come to the board for you to decide. I know both of those organizations are fine with her staying on, whether she's a select board member or not, as a community representative. But I did talk with her and say that I would bring it to the board as an agenda item for you to decide. If one of you has a burning desire to be on the Stratford Regional Planning Commission or the Community Action Committee.
I do not.
Who's our backup or alternate?
I don't believe we have an alternate for the Community Action Program. We have several representatives at Stratford Regional Planning. There are 3 committees, I believe. Woodward serves on one committee. Wayne Lehman serves on another committee, and Katrin serves on 2 committees, I believe.
Are the other 2, Mary and Wayne, interested in being our rep, or?
I don't believe so. I think they're content in the positions that they're in.
Fair enough. The only thing I would ask is whoever the rep is, that they report back to us on a periodic basis to let us know what's going on, maybe quarterly or whatever they feel.
Okay, so is the board okay with me telling Katrin that she's
So,
good for the remainder of the year anyway?
yep,
Okay, great.
and we appreciate her service.
Yep, I'll tell her that as well. Okay, moving along, we have the select board reps to the various committees, commissions, and boards. I'll just go through the list and we can go through them individually, but it is planning, zoning. Some of these commissions are open, but the Ag Commission has had a representative. The Conservation Commission does have a representative. The Recreation Commission has a representative. The Energy Committee is now open. Katrin was the select board representative there. The Heritage Commission is Mr. Bugby. You can also have an alternate. The Housing Committee, Katrin was on that committee. She had actually expressed an interest in having me represent the board instead of her while she was on the committee, because I had to go to the meetings anyway. And so there's that. And the Sustainability Committee has not had a select board member for a while, but they typically have had one too. So.
Okay.
I think Planning, Zoning, Conservation, and the Budget Committee are the big ones, which actually is not on this list. Typically, you have a representative to the Advisory Budget Committee as well.
Well, that's currently you, Mr. Buck. So are you voted, are you also an elected member of that committee?
I only get to vote once, but
Yeah, because Katrin basically said that I would just transition to what she had.
Oh, you're also
Yeah, I know.
that's up to us right now. How do you feel about energy, housing?
I mean, I don't know. I can certainly do it. Yeah, it's part of it. I guess, what days are the meetings?
Yeah, the Housing Committee meetings are fairly infrequent.
Yeah.
We had a number of meetings to get rolling. We got some grant money. It's likely to be a little more frequent next fall. I believe they're going to come forward with some warrant articles. At least one warrant article, possibly 2 that they want to put on the warrant. So there'll be, several meetings to discuss those with the planning board, I'm sure.
Yeah, I mean, I can slide into her spots. That's.
What this goes back to.
Is there anything you'd like to adjust?
no, I don't want it anymore. Thank you.
And you're happy with your current assignments?
Yep.
So it would be the.
The Energy Committee and the Housing Committee
Okay.
are what And
She was on this.
yeah, she was also on the sustainability committee, but had not attended meetings.
And the ag is still open.
I think I was the representative there, but I couldn't even figure out when they met, to be real honest.
I think we
It's
actually
usually
discussed
last Tuesday of the
me
month.
going to those as well. That was one of the things that was lumped in with housing. I think that may have been your idea. You had asked if I would be willing to
I think it was also like in the middle of the day, like I don't know that it was sometime I could ever go.
No,
to.
they have it at night at our office, at the town office.
That's very unclear to me. I mean, I'm happy to let you join. That's fine.
And I don't have any large family events over the date of the fair this year, so I'm able to work.
So you're
Yeah,
the
but-
select board rep?
Just a rep.
Okay.
Board's designee, I wouldn't call me the select board representative, but designee. So that pretty much takes care of the assignments, we're good. Under miscellaneous, had just a couple of small things. We received a notification this afternoon from the Stratford County Commissioners that the Stratford County $4.5 million dispatch radio project that they've been working on with a combination of ARPA funds, some grants from Chris Pappas' office and some other things is now complete. And they feel that, both sides of this, yeah, the efficiency enhances reception from an estimated 35% to 99.7% now for this area. So it was a substantial increase in the signal strength and signal availability for the emergency responders, and this is police. Primarily because fire is on the UNH system, and I believe this upgrade affects that as well.
So does that mean we don't need our own radio system for the fire?
No, it means that we can actually hear dispatch now in a much broader section of the town. Tom?
This upgrade doesn't affect the fire department because they're through UNH.
Okay.
So that's what their repeater's for, but I have seen an enhanced improvement. Before, if I was in the station and they called me and I wanted to use my portable, I'd have to take it out, hold it up and talk. Now I can just use my lapel mic and talk into it, and 99% of the time they get the call, which is huge.
Are they on the tower across the racetrack, or where?
No, they put several other towers up.
Oh,
It used to be we would hit off of the one on Blue Joe, which was almost on the other side of the mountain.
okay.
So if you were at Market Basket, the building would actually block. We couldn't hear them, they couldn't hear us.
That's good.
In it'll be even better, we were approved for our $56,000 grant through Chris Pappas's office to upgrade all of our portables. So, this is where the 10-year-old, 11-year-old portables. So I can imagine how it's gonna be when we have the new ones.
Okay, good.
Yeah, and Denise did send this over to Tom, but as I said, we got it in the mail at like 4 o'clock today, so I don't know if Tom had a chance to look at the specifics.
So can you send the updated information to Mr. Tappan to put into the, because they're on that list, right? Financial planning tool?
I don't believe so.
No, we didn't have those?
The radios, are you talking about his?
The radios, no. I don't have anything on it.
Nothing? You should. It's a piece of equipment, so.
Yeah, I've always replaced it with grants and
Okay.
as they were needed.
As long as the grants continue to be available, if they're not, then. All right.
The other miscellaneous thing that I would mention, you had a chance to look at the audit. Hopefully, I've gone through it. There are a couple of things on there. I'll be coming back to you with how we intend to address those. One of them, after talking with the audit team and our IT people, I probably would not advise addressing. The other one is the receipting and cash from the various departments in town, and that clearly needs to be addressed. That had been started under the former financial administrator, and sort of slipped away with the addition of the bookkeeper. But we need to put together standardized receipts for all departments. Right now, each department has their own specific receipting method for bringing cash from fees and funds to the town office. And in fact, I came across one department that has 2 receipts within the same department. So, there's no money missing, but clearly that needs to be standardized. So I'll be bringing that to the board. The other thing I would mention is this is the first year with the MRI contract that we are GASB compliant. We are GASB compliant through Statement 96, which is the latest statement that involves your IT contracts and licensing agreements, that type of thing. So
That's not the one with the retirement then?
they use GASB standards for all accounting going forward, and the most recent thing that we added was the 96, which was for licensing agreements and
Okay. Because you're still not in compliance with their retirement, because that's how they do retirement.
I believe that we are now compliant with retirement too. I will double check, but the big problem we're having with retirement right now is the state has introduced a new retirement system. They did not retire their old system. They're using both systems, and neither one of them are working correctly at the moment. It's taken a great deal of effort to get retirement recorded appropriately. They keep mentioning that in another 30 to 60 days, things will be cleared up. That's been going on for quite a number of 30 to 60-day periods, and it is what it is. We have to work with them.
Can you give us an update on the credit card? I know you were working on that. Can you?
Yes. One of the problems we discovered when we got ready to roll things out and flip the switch was that we do not have the internet access we need at the transfer station in particular. I have ordered a new card reader that will work off a hotspot from a cell phone. So there is internet, there is wireless at the transfer station. Because of the metal structure, the roof and the siding, it does not work particularly well. We will be testing the hotspot on a town-owned phone. That should work well. The other problem we had is Chip, the transfer station supervisor, really wants the ability to take cards at the bulky materials small building, which doesn't have, it's got electricity, but it doesn't have a phone line and it doesn't have internet. So if we could put it in the office transfer station, it would work just fine. But we're looking at that. That should be here within the next 10 days. And Steve and I and probably Julia are going to have to get online and set it up. But they have our account set up now. They're just waiting for a machine that we can plug in and make go. Not Parks, but Recreation and Denise will also be using a similar device. Denise will be using it for facilities fees, the ability to take deposits, which actually is a pretty significant number of deposits and amount of revenue that we take in for use of Little River Park in particular. So they're using that with Karen for recreational programs, and they wanted the same thing, a reader that could work off a hotspot on a phone so they could take it to the Leaf Fair, or they could take it to a community breakfast, something like that, and use it.
And we'll have one for the police department too at some point?
Yes, we will have a standard unit in the police department. The police department has the ability to plug directly into the internet as well as wireless, so they were nowhere near as much of a challenge as.
So with the fire department, because they have fees and stuff for.
I have not ordered a separate one for the fire department at this point. It is conceivable that maybe something could be worked out with the police department, or depending on the volume that the fire chief thinks he has, we can get another reader fairly easily. They're not wildly expensive.
They send a lot of people through online.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Good.
You should also be able to use these to some extent. You can set it up so you can take a payment online and just ask the people their information as opposed to swipe their card. So.
I meant with the state, is what I meant. He sends them to the state to pay through that process and not through here.
Okay.
Yeah, for permits.
Good to know. Thank you.
And that is really all I had pending. Questions you might have.
I think we're all set. All right. agenda. Any comments about the consent agenda?
No, almost had.
All right, motion to accept the consent agenda as presented.
We'll let David do that one.
Second motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I just.
So these are just, yeah, everywhere, there's a list, you just do online.
I tried them. Thank you. Yay. There you go.
Here's manifests.
Oh, okay. Can't sign that one, I'm not there. I was looking
This one?
at that.
Well, you came
There may be a few more.
partway through.
Rebecca Stacks.
I came.
Yes, at 6 PM. You came to the district, you came to all the,
Well, I think you did come to the first part.
okay, so I'm just signing it
It
then?
just needs to, you already signed it, didn't you?
I know, so
Just,
I'm the only one signing it?
I guess so.
Okay. Give that back to Denise.
You don't.
Nice.
On the select board,
Scott came late to this one, but
Oh,
it's okay,
okay.
you can still sign it, did you read it?
Do I have to read the other part now?
You didn't have to read it.
I mean, what's the sense of having
That
it?
can go straight to me.
thank you.
So you came in at,
Yeah, so I don't, I didn't want to read the page and a half, just
Oh, sorry.
reading.
okay.
Right.
Putting the pictures back in this one. Thank you.
What do you want to do with the manifest? Still has Katrin's change across all that. Do you could sign it? Or skip it?
I assume somebody's looked at it.
I think those you got two, I
As
think
long
this
as I have
one.
to find it, and she's gonna change it for next time.
Okay, yes, I went through it in detail. Great, thanks, see the trust money, I'll return. That's what he's saying, the trust money is my best. I'll be doing the memberships, or a bunch of them are doing the memberships, that's great. Thank you, Ben.
You can go ahead.
Okay, any old business?
I have nothing further.
Any other new business? Okay, then I make a motion to adjourn. Do you wanna hit second and then we'll adjourn? All right. And we'll call the adjournment. All right, all in favor of adjourning?